clanging of metal doors echoed to the prison hall as inmates lined up for lunch, the air thick with sweat, noise, and tension. Among them stood a quiet black woman, her eyes calm, her posture straight, moving like someone who had seen storms before. The others saw weakness. The guard saw another inmate. But what no one knew, not the inmates, not even a warden, was that she was a former Marine officer with record hand-to-hand combat. So deadly it was classified. When the prison bully decided to humiliate her, she didn't just fight back. She unleashed a storm of kung fu fury that left everyone speechless. If you love your mom and dad, hit that subscribe button and show some love to her, because this story will make you believe in quiet strength like never before. The gray walls of Raleigh Women's Correctional Facility held more than inmates. They held stories, secrets, and scars. Every woman in there had one, but none like Sergeant Maya Ellis. She had been a Marine, a decorated combat instructor, and a woman who'd given 15 years of her life to serving her country. Now, she was an inmate, convicted for a crime she didn't commit, caught in the crossfire of a political setup that destroyed her reputation. She didn't talk much. She didn't need to. Her silence unnerved everyone, even the guards. When she moved, it was with precision. When she looked at someone, it was with eyes that had seen battlefields and death, not gossip and cafeteria drama. But inside, she was broken, not from the prison walls. She could handle those. What hurt was being betrayed by the very system she once protected. In her first few weeks, Maya kept to herself. She woke before dawn, exercised in the corner of the yard, read military strategy books from the small library, and avoided trouble. But trouble had a way of finding the quiet ones. That trouble came in the form of Tanya, Tank Morales, 6 feet of muscle, tattoos, and attitude. Tank ruled cell block D like a queen bee, and she didn't like competition, especially not from someone who didn't show fear. Maya's calm rubbed her the wrong way. The first encounter happened in the cafeteria. Tank strutted over, flanked by her crew. The smell of cheap beans and disinfectant filled the air. Maya sat alone at a corner table, quietly eating her food. "Well, look who thinks she's better than everyone," Tank sneered, slamming her tray onto Maya's table. "You too good to sit with people. Soldier girl?" Maya didn't look up. "I just prefer peace with my lunch." "Oh, you prefer peace?" Tank laughed, loud and harsh. "You hear that, girls? Miss Military wants peace in prison." Laughter rippled around the table, sharp and cruel. Tank leaned closer, her breath hot and foul. "You think your little Marine tricks mean something here? You're my block now." Maya's eyes finally lifted. Calm, steady, unimpressed. "Then maybe you should run it with discipline." The laughter died. For a moment, silence fell. Tank's eyes narrowed. "You got a smart mouth, soldier. Let's see how smart it is after I—" "Enough!" shouted a guard, slamming his baton on the table. "Move it, Morales." Tank glared but backed off, muttering threats under her breath. That was only round one. Over the next few days, Tank's crew began taunting Maya. They shoved her in the hallway, accidentally spilled water on her bunk, and spread rumors. Maya ignored it all. She had learned long ago that not every battle is worth fighting. But in prison, silence is often mistaken for weakness, and weakness is currency. One evening in the yard, Tank decided to cash in. Rain poured over the yard, thunder rumbling overhead. The guards huddled under the awning, barely watching. Tank and her crew approached Maya, who was doing push-ups in the mud, rain dripping from her short curls. "Well, well," Tank said. "Still playing soldier?" Maya didn't respond. "I asked you a question." Tank shoved her shoulder. Maya stood slowly, her muscles rippling under the soaked gray uniform. Her gaze met Tank's. "Cold, steady, walk away." "Or what?" Tank smirked. "You gonna salute me?" She swung. The punch came fast, aimed for Maya's face, but it never landed. In one fluid motion, Maya sidestepped, caught Tank's wrist twisted, and drove her into the mud. The move was surgical, precise, effortless. The crew froze. Tank roared, rolling to her feet, charging again. This time, Maya didn't hold back. Her body moved like poetry, a sequence of controlled, deadly motions. A back fist cracked through the rain. A sweep took Tank's legs out. When Tank tried to rise, Maya pivoted, grabbed her arm, and flipped her hard onto her back, the impact echoing through the yard. The crowd went silent. For the first time, the queen of cell block D was on the ground. Not by size, not by intimidation, but by sheer skill. "Who the hell are you?" one of the inmates whispered. Maya straightened, breathing steady despite the rain. Someone who's done being pushed. The guards finally noticed a commotion and rushed over. Tank was groaning, holding her shoulder. Maya stood still, hands raised. "Break it up," one guard barked. Ellis, Morales, segregation. They threw both of them in solitary for 3 days. Inside the tiny concrete cell, Maya sat cross-legged on the floor, replaying the fight in her head. She hadn't wanted to hurt anyone, but something in her had awakened, a reminder of who she was before the world tried to bury her. When she was released, the atmosphere in cell block D had shifted. Whispers followed her, some with respect, others with fear. But even Tank kept her distance. Weeks passed. Maya began teaching herself meditation again. She trained silently, using the wall for push-ups, the floor for balance, her breath as focus. But peace is never permanent. One night, as the lights flickered off for lockdown, an alarm blared. Fights broke out down the corridor. Chaos, screaming, metal clashing. The prison went into emergency mode. Guards rushed to contain it. But in the confusion, Tank's crew found their chance for revenge. They cornered Maya in the laundry room, 4 of them armed with makeshift shanks. Tank stood at the door, smirking. "You embarrass me, soldier. Time to even the score." Maya looked at them, eyes narrowed, then calmly folded the laundry in her hands and placed it on a shelf. "You sure you want to do this?" "Oh, I'm sure." The first came swinging. Maya ducked, grabbed her wrist, and redirected the blade into a dryer door clang. A spinning kick sent her sprawling. The next lunged from behind. Maya spun, blocked, and elbowed her square in the jaw. The third tried to rush her with a scream, but Maya sidestepped and flipped her into a laundry cart. The last one hesitated. Too slow. Maya disarmed her, tossed the shank aside, and pressed her palm against the woman's chest, stopping her cold. Tank's grin faded. "You think you're tough? You think this makes you better?" "No," Maya said quietly. "It makes me free." Tank charged, swinging wildly. Maya dodged each blow with grace, calm, focused. Then she delivered 3 strikes, one to the arm, one to the chest, one to the knee. Tank collapsed, gasping. Maya crouched beside her. "You had strength. You could have led them right. Instead, you rule by fear. That's why you lost." Before guards stormed in, Tank looked up at her with something she'd never shown anyone: respect. The guards dragged them apart, but this time, no one blamed Maya. The security footage had captured everything. The next day, the warden called her in. "Ellis," he said, studying her file, "you've been quiet since day 1. Never caused trouble. But I've seen your record. Marine officer, close quarters combat trainer. What are you really doing here?" "I was framed," she said. The warden sighed. "I believe you." He leaned back. "You saved 3 guards' lives last night by stopping that riot before it spread. I'm filing a recommendation for early release. Don't make me regret it." Maya nodded once. "You won't." Weeks later, the paperwork came through. She walked out of Raleigh prison under the same gray skies she had entered under, but this time she was free. Outside the gate, a black SUV waited. A woman in a suit stepped out. Captain Renee Holt, her old Marine superior. "Maya Ellis," she said with a smile. "Still causing trouble, huh?" "Just handling it," Maya replied. "You got friends in high places who never stop believing you. You ready to come back?" Maya looked at her old uniform, folded neatly in the seat. "Not to the Corps," she said, "but to something bigger." Months later, she stood on a small stage at a veterans rehabilitation center, now working as a martial arts instructor for women who had survived trauma. She taught them not just how to fight, but how to stand tall again. Her story spread online. The Marine who fought back in prison, It went viral. Even Tank, released months later, showed up one day, head lowered. "I came to say thank you," she muttered. "You made me see what real strength looks like." Maya smiled. Then it was worth it. That night, as she locked up the training hall, Maya looked at her reflection in the glass. Strong, calm, free. She whispered, "They try to break me, but they just reminded me who I am." The rain began to fall again, soft and rhythmic. The same rain that once soaked her in that yard. But this time it sounded like peace.